Okay, so I want to do this very quickly, and try to keep this to just a couple of minutes, knock wood. Um, but, by the way, I'm having some equipment issues, so I'm just doing this on the old webcam. This will be resolved shortly, but this really doesn't merit a very big production anyway, and I didn't want to just do a standard J042 reviews thing because um, given that I've commented on this film before seeing it, it would be wrong of me to pretend to have any pretense of objectivity. Uh, Basically, so I went and saw this movie and the Ghostbusters movie, the new remake, and I saw it opening weekend, and my God, I mean, granted, I was going to the Midtown Arts Cinema, which is a small art house cinema that I normally go to for art films. But nevertheless, in terms of how many people were in the audience, well, let's just say there was a very controversial documentary that aired last year at the same theater, and the attendance for this was about the same. But anyway, I feel like there's so many things that we're just it's just not funny. And spoiler alert, big time spoiler alerts. But you know, everybody was going into it. Everybody talking about how funny Chris Hemsworth is. Did not make me laugh once. And everybody's talking there. Not everybody, but I hear these. I've seen these articles about how they say, "Oh, Chris Hemsworth improvised the funniest line in the movie." The comment about his glasses and all this. So I'm the whole time waiting for the thing about the glasses, and he's interviewing for the secretary job, and one of the Ghostbusters says, "By the way, why don't your glasses have lenses in them?" And he says, "Oh, because they would get dirty." And it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. Not having lenses because they would get dirty defeats the purpose of wearing glasses at all. So, you know, I get it, but the whole thing is kind of like that. It's like, and I say this as a huge Woody Allen fan, but it's like a lot of Woody Allen's jokes just kind of aren't that funny if you actually stop and think about them. Like he has moments of pure brilliance. Annie Hall is pure brilliance. That's one of those perfect movies. But like he said, I know one of his quotes is, "The hypocrite is a man who writes a book about atheism and prays like hell that it sells." Well, that's not funny because that's not actually hypocritical. You could be a theistic person and write a book about atheism. And it's jokes like that. It's like they sound funny because they catch you off guard, but if you stop and think about them, they just kind of fall flat. It's kind of like at one point Chris Hemsworth says that an aquarium is like a submarine for fish. Okay, so it's almost, you get almost a chuckle out of it contemplating how not funny it is. The two of the main characters, I like Kristen Wiig a lot, and she has the kind of personality, the kind of demeanor, and honestly the kind of look in a woman that's very appealing to me. So all around, I really like her, and she's very much in that kind of Tina Fey, Amy Poehler sort of vein. So I like her a lot. She did not put me off. She didn't seem like much of a character. She just seemed like Kristen Wiig being Kristen Wiig. Uh, but she that she was bookended by there's the one write off character. I'm not trying to be disparaging here, but the overweight woman, the heavy set woman, I can't think of her name off the top of my head, the character or the actress's name. But then the two characters, Kate McKinnon and Leslie Jones, seem to be the ones that are getting most of the noise. Kate McKinnon's character, Holtzman, people have been saying she's this like androgynous sex symbol, and I could kind of see that. And I will say, to give credit where credit's due, I could kind of see how she was sexy in a way, and that was accomplished without just putting her in in a skimpy revealing dress or outfit or costume and just showing off her body for the camera. So it does take skill to convey that without being overtly sexual. So I'll give credit where credit's due. That was good. That said, that was only like a vague feeling. There could have been so much more to that. She was not funny. She just struck me as being frantic. And then Leslie Jones as Patty. Leslie Jones, if you listen to her talk, she is an educated, intelligent, classy woman. And it was disgusting the level of stereotyping behavior that they had her doing in this movie. Uh, and I am not saying that. I know that sounds like you're probably thinking, oh, yeah, coming from Mr. Anti PC. No, here's the thing. A lot of times, one of the reasons I'm anti PC is because most of the people that practice political correctness don't know when is something is actually sexist or actually racist or actually homophobic. It's like if you said, if I say, here's the 10 here's the 10 most popular uh, public speakers on topic X, and you look at those 10 people, and two of them are black, and one of them's a woman, and the rest are white men, and you say, oh, well, obviously this is racist and sexist because you can't put this into a pie chart and have even distribution across every possible demographic. So clearly this is racist and sexist. You know, and it always goes back to early childhood education. Clearly, they haven't had enough special, guest speakers come in to tell them how wonderful they are, and that's why they didn't do anything interesting with their lives. Um, that all is a lot of noise, and trying to make social progress and the change in societal attitudes into a numbers game is absolute bollocks. But Leslie Jones comes off like a minstrel stereotype in this movie. Like it's like blackface. And to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, here is here's an example of something that you will only see black characters do this in movies, because it is this like stereotypical thing that has persisted since the days of the minstrel shows, and that is having a black actor or black character, when they are scared, start talking in this overwhelmingly black accent, like not just a black accent, not just like a, and not even just ebonics, but like this like mocking blackface parody of how a black person talks, um, and they start talking aloud to themselves when they're scared in a movie, and it made me so uncomfortable, because there's a scene, and I'm going to do this just as an example to make a point. But there's a scene where the Patty character is walking down a hallway, down a corridor with her, equipment, Ghostbuster equipment and everything, and she's talking to herself, going, "What was you thinking, Patty? You had a good job and everything, and you gave that up so you could go do this. What was wrong with you?" And like, I mean, you want to talk about cringing? Oh my God! It would not have been it would not have been more stereotypically it would not have been more stereotypical and revolting if she had started tap dancing at that point. I mean, it was just absolutely off-putting. Now, the difference between me and the PC police is, I don't think that me being offended by something necessarily matters one way or the other. You go do your thing, and I'll just go take my business elsewhere. But that said, man, that was uncomfortable to watch, and to see that, not to get off on a high horse, but I mean, my God, Black Lives Matter shut down the downtown connector like a week ago. So it's very, there's some very tense stuff going on right now, and that's that made me uncomfortable. It really did. Um, so anyway, uh, there was just nothing to this movie. It felt like it was pandering to a demographic that just does not need to be pandered to, and the it looks like that demographic. This movie, let's be honest, this movie was an experiment to see if that demographic commanded a market share, and I think this is pretty good proof that they do not. But anyway, talking about you know diversity and multiculturalism for a minute, I want to leave you with a thought. The next movie I'm going to review, and it is going to be back in the JO42 reviews um, format with the proper audio and proper high def and everything, uh, is the Silk Road, Yo-Yo Ma, the Yo-Yo Ma movie, and it's a documentary. I'm sorry, not the Silk Road. That's his ensemble. The movie is called Music with Strangers. Music with Strangers. I saw this at the Tara in Atlanta, and it was absolutely phenomenal. Blew me away. It's a documentary about Yo-Yo Ma and his Silk Road ensemble. And what he did with this ensemble was he went all around the world and found people who, he took Western instruments, the cello, violin, viola, and all of that, and combined it with all of these fascinating world instruments, like instruments you've never heard of. And he went and found the people all over the world that are the top, the absolute number one best player on these given instruments. And the Silk Road Ensemble, there are men, women, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, Indian, East Indian, um, Muslim, all across the board, Italians, Scandinavia, all everywhere. Maybe not Scandinavia, but certainly no, not Italy, Spain. There's this fantastic female bagpipe player, and it's like it's all across the diversity globe, and he did not go into that saying, I'm going to do this multi ethnic ensemble or this intergender ensemble. He said, I'm going to go to these instruments and find the absolute best players of these instruments. And that movie is a beautiful testament to what different cultures can accomplish when they come together to create something better, when they take the best within their cultures and combine them to create something beautiful. It is a fascinating, beautiful message, and it speaks to the disaffected liberal in me that is, still socially liberal, but is just disgusted with the PC outrage police. And I bring that up because I feel like I don't know off the top of my head what the distribution of races and genders and everything in Music with Strangers is. I could go look at it, look at it and add it up and see. But I feel like there are people out there who, despite the fact that Yo-Yo Ma has done this thing that is very multicultural, very multi-ethnic, very gender diverse. There are people who will look at the list of all of the many, many people that are in the Silk Road Ensemble. They will look at that and add up all of the ethnic minorities and all of the women and group people into these categories and everything, and come out unsatisfied. They will come out pissed off, and because there will be some imbalance. There will be 51% of the group will be male, or 51% will be European or something. I don't know, but they'll find some group will be what they think is unfairly represented within the group, and they'll throw out the baby with the bathwater, and that'll be it. And that is just a very sad, cynical way to critique anything and to evaluate anything. And I would hope that you out there uh, who are hearing this, who consider yourself to be very much on the far left, would take that to heart and think about it. Because on the one hand, Yo-Yo Ma did this thing that demonstrates in action that actual real people from all over the world can come together and do something beautiful, can surpass their cultural differences and do something amazing. This Ghostbusters movie, it's just trying to bank on phony PC police outrage and, oh, whoop-de-doo, we got 4 fictional characters that are women to do this. And that's what I was talking about in my previous video. The problem is not that they are women. The problem is not that they're feminist women. The problem is that ultimately that doesn't mean anything. Anyway, this will be my last video about Ghostbusters. Thank you for bearing with me. And I saw it so that you don't have to.